Olay, how you doing this morning, sister?
Good. I'm up. I'm here.
Good.
Listen, thank you so much for your patience. You know, we've had a busy load this morning, and you're a friend of the show. So when we bring you in, we just bring you in. We don't even do like a whole formal introduction. We just say, hey, Olay is here, y'all. Olay is here.
Hey, y'all.
But the reason we brought you in today, as much as we like to laugh, oh man,
Right.
What's going on at Rikers is atrocious. Help us out.
Listen, the last time I was here, I told y'all it was a human rights crisis and we were at 12 deaths. We're at 14 now. So what does that tell us, right? It's continuing to escalate and get worse, and yet they are not decarcerating. And it's abhorrent, right? Like how many, Raheem. I'm sorry, Mike.
Is that your cat? Is that your cat?
Yeah.
Because listen,
Not Raheem trying to get on the show, Olay.
between your cat, Olay, my kids, and our other guest kids, this has been a wild show. How's your cat doing?
Listen, I'm saying, I think he thinks if I'm up, I should be feeding him. My man grabbed my toe like this with the strength just now. I felt that in my mouth.
Wait, give us I need the audio. Wait, we'll get to Rikers because Rikers is there. Is the cat still there, Olay? Is he still there attacking you?
He's a terrorist.
What about the full screen? Full screen.
Girl, why is look? They trying to cover.
It's like your cat is in the witness protection agency.
They don't want us to see the cat, child. The cat is a minor. They don't not want us to see the cat.
Oh my God.
Cat is blurred.
My apologies.
That's hilarious.
I'm gonna keep my toes to myself.
Okay. All right. So your toes were just attacked by your savage cat. No problem. We
Yes, exactly.
it's that kind of day. It's that kind of day. But you're a public defender in New York,
Yes.
and you know firsthand how Rikers, and not just Rikers, but Rikers seems to be like the epitome of the abuse of this criminal justice system. Tell us about all the stuff that you've been covering, and we have some clips and we have some footage of all the new stuff that's coming out of Rikers, all the bodies piled up on top of each other.
So listen, I've been saying since last year, and I'm actually really glad that the pictures came out because I think people think you're being hyperbolic. I've been saying that the cells have 40, 50 plus people in it in the middle of a pandemic, that they've been moving COVID people into general pop. I've been describing it exactly like this a year ago, me and every other public defender, and we're just being ignored so much by, I think people have a faith in the criminal system in this way, or in their legislators. They believe if something is truly that outrageous, right, it would be being addressed. It would be being treated like it's this human rights crisis that it is. So when we were describing exactly what you're seeing in those photos, just falling on deaf ears. And so I'm glad that people can see now that what we're saying is happening is exactly what's happening, and the people we put in power are not doing anything about it, right? Because it's only been getting worse. Wow. It's been like this and getting worse since last year when they rolled back bail reform. They caused pretrial detention to spike like 70%. It's been this case. People have been dying, and it's 14. We're now up to 14 deaths this year, and yet judges are still setting bail. They haven't made any real major moves to decarcerate. They're still putting people in there on violations. It's a shame.
Yeah, and it's crazy, Olay, because just like you said, and you who are someone who is front and center of it, it's like when we were bringing up the photos on the other day, I was saying this is not anything new, because the article that I read that was from 2020, August of 2020, was discussing the same exact conditions, and yet nothing has been done. There is no change. There's no difference. It is literally the same, and it's so sad because nothing has been done. Nothing has been done since then. And even with these photos, do you think anything is going to change, even with these photos coming out?
No, and let me tell you why. Because at the end of the day, right, the legislators have seen this. This might be new to the public, but they know, they've seen, they've heard, and our mayor, de Blasio, originally de Blasio didn't go. He hadn't been to Rikers since 2017, right? And so that's not really a defense to explain why because that shows how much you care at all, right? About your citizens, about the people incarcerated at Rikers, the fact that you didn't visit. But then upon the recent, humanitarian crisis and people complaining and, people talking about what's happening in Rikers and him getting criticized for the fact that he never returned, he went. He visited, and other elected officials have visited. So they've seen it. They've walked the halls. They know exactly what's happening there. And yet de Blasio is still up there talking about, arresting people for riding ATVs and bikes and coming up with more foolishness to put people in Rikers like it's not already full. Like, let's not forget, we're looking at those cells that are full, but that's just, you're looking at a taste of it. They have people in shower stalls because there are no spaces in cells. There are more bodies than there are space. Yes. Isn't that insane? What? People are being kept in the showers.
People are having to sleep.
Aren't they still running it in some way, shape, or form? Like some of the people on like a good Tuesday or Thursday because people aren't showing up to work. You have the inmates who are already living in poor conditions, having to run this system, and they're already having their rights taken away from them, where they don't even where they can't even make a phone call, talk to a lawyer, get any time to speak to somebody to free them. And now they're running the jails.
Right. And let's not forget that on top of all of this, they've been being exploited for labor the entire time, right? As they always are, but especially in this pandemic. Originally, they had them making the masks, the sanitizer, the everything that they couldn't use. We couldn't get them COVID testing for the longest. We had to fight. To get them testing, we had to fight. To get them vaccinated, we had to fight. For them to get any kind of medical attention right now. So imagine that on top of a pandemic where you're putting them in worse and worse and worse circumstances. Every time a story comes out about Rikers, it's worse, right? The last time I was here, I told you all about a 24-year-old autistic boy that died in Rikers recently, right? Yeah. Now there's a 58-year-old man. They just took him off life support in Rikers because he tried to harm himself. And I said last time that people taking their lives because of conditions that they're left in pre-trial is not a suicide. That is a default. I said it last time and I'm going to say it again.
We got a couple of, we have some clips here, Olay, I want us to play so the people can get a better, but the one I did not know, they have people, bodies piling up in showers to sleep. That is some ambitious, that is some, that's a level of disregard for human life that I guess you would expect at this juncture at Rikers. I want to play this first clip, and it is the images of Rikers Island over the audio of New York State Senator Jessica Ramos. She's the chair of the New York Senate Committee on Labor, and she is speaking on what she saw during her visit to Rikers, even though de Blasio didn't go, you said, since 2017? My God. Right. Let's watch this clip real quick.
My name is Jessica Ramos. I represent the 13th District in the New York State Senate. There's reports of chronic staff absenteeism, incarcerated individuals languishing in intake, self-harm, and more. What we witnessed was really nothing we could have possibly prepared ourselves for. There were about a dozen men that we saw packed into small cells with no beds. They're being deprived of food, water, showers, and medical attention. I met one transgender woman who had been misgendered and assigned to male housing and abused. Another individual with HIV hadn't received his medicine in over a week and was housed with other men who've contracted COVID-19. A few diabetics had not had their sugar checked in many days, and a handful of men I met had been unable to access the methadone clinic. I met a man who admitted he began cutting himself just so that he had open wounds that would get him to medics, and maybe he'd actually be given the medicine to treat his mental illness. I met another man who told me that he suffers from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, but had not received medication in weeks. I even witnessed a man try to take his own life before our very eyes. Luckily, it didn't work. The violations of human rights taking place in Rikers Island are rampant. The population on Rikers is largely comprised of people who have not been convicted of crimes they've been accused of. We're talking about people who are too poor to post bail, which is why we're asking for cash bail to be eliminated. I chair the Labor Committee. I did want to speak up for the correction officers who deserve to work in under safe conditions. I want to pitch, of course, my own bills, both the treatment not jails bill, and I carry the bill in order to do away with triple shifts. We have to refuse to be complicit in the system, each and every one of us. We cannot, shame on us for perpetuating this violence because it's cyclical. And we can't continue to pretend that anyone in this prison industrial complex is being rehabilitated or being corrected by any means.
I think that's a big point right there. They have the idea that So you weren't here when I was discussing this, right? I reposted your photo, Olay, in my stories. And a friend of mine said, in the regarding the video or the photo of them piled up on the ground, replied back to my story and said, hey, maybe if they're not doing any, that they stop doing crime. Listen, I could. That's
so stupid.
It was so just
stupid, ignorant, stupid.
Yes. And that's what I said. You're ignorant for that. And then I listed all the things that, the petty things that they could be in there for, and how they are the conditions, and how they're not given their rights, and how they're running the jail. Right. And the idea that you've done a crime, so you deserve to be in these type of conditions, possibly die because these conditions are inhumane. And also the idea that this is going to rehabilitate somebody who happened to, be late on a damn ticket or something. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's so dumb.
People need to stop endorsing a criminal system that does not protect them, right? Like, it does not help you none to endorse the world that you're talking about. None of these people have been convicted of a crime, right? So that's first and foremost, right? What you're advocating for is a system where we allow people to we risk their lives based on accusations. That's what we're saying. So forget the presumption of innocence, forget any of that. We're saying that if you are accused of a crime in this country, it is acceptable for us to lock you up and risk your life in amidst a pandemic, right? That's what they want me to believe. Is that what I'm supposed to understand, right? That's okay. No, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's heinous. And I can't understand why people can't recognize that this doesn't do any good for anybody, right? Let's pretend, let's humor this idea that, this is what we need for the criminal system, right? If we say these people are just committing crime, let's say it's not out of poverty. Let's say it's not because they have a reason. Let's say there's no reason, no justification. They simply are lawless and they don't care about the society. So now when you lock them up, right, and you subject them to every kind of humanitarian abuse, what was described there in that audio we just listened is basically people having their lives put at risk, right? A lot of those people that were listed, that's a possible death sentence, right? So let's say they're all lawless people. They don't care. They don't respect the government. They don't respect the law. They don't respect our society, right? So we have them there. We subject them to this. This is how the government treats them. What exactly do we think they would do, right? When they turn around, we think they're going to be like, oh, yes, I've got it now. That government, that society that I already feel like didn't have my back, they definitely got it now. When they left me locked up in a pandemic, really subjected me to every level of humanitarian abuse, I'm going to go out now. I'm going to be a good citizen. All those problems I have before, they're gone now.
It don't work like that.
Is that what we think? Like, I'm just like, what world do you think this is? People can't, you're not actually locking these people up and throwing away the key. They're not disappearing. They don't evaporate. Right. They're going to come back to the same society. Yeah. So all these people that you say are so bad, they don't belong here. Let's go lock them up and let's leave them there and let's let them languish away until they get a trial or whatever. So when they come back, what now? Your problem's fixed? Are your problems fixed? Are they better now, or are they just going to go back into the community?
All right, Olay.
You tired of these posts. Olay is tired.
No,
She's tired of dealing with this.
She gave us a strong Bahamian. She gave us a strong Bahamian with a little bit of Nigerian in there. It was very soft. Like, what is it? Okay.
She said, what you not going to do?
I'm so tired.
She said, this is so stupid.
Combo every day. So
See, Olay, I got to ask you. Let me ask you a specific question about what I heard the state senator say. And I think we already know this, but I think we got to point it out. These people have not been convicted of anything. And they're only there because they cannot afford to pay their cash bail. How is this acceptable in the country? How can we claim to be a country of due process when we got our boys stretched out in the showers because they can't afford to pay cash bail?
Stretched out in the showers, Jesus.
Exactly. I need people to pick which criminal system they endorse. I need them to figure it out, right? Because you need to stop picking and choosing, right? Because, you're all for the carceral system and incarceration and all that. What happened to the presumption of innocence? What happened to due process? What happened to a trial? What happened to any of those things? You don't believe in that? Oh, so you only believe in abuse. You only believe in punitive measures. Is that what it is? Is that what I'm to understand? It is absolutely, absolutely nonsense. I can't even continue engaging them in good faith, but it's day to day. It makes me think of this. Whenever I have a white client, my white clients always call me this every day. And they say, so people can just lie on me and I can get arrested? Like every day they're blown away by this injustice. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's kind of how it works.
I'm like, come with me. You see, that's a problem, right? People just saying stuff and now you in jail. That's the issue. Let's not endorse that system, right? Because it's all fun and games until you realize it could be you. The only reason people have this attitude is because in their minds, it doesn't apply to them. They think that people who are in Rikers or people that end up in jail or people who end up in the criminal system are these like mythical, fairy bad people that live on the outskirts of society. That's your neighbor. That's your cousin. That's your friend. Right. That could be you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You make the wrong move one day, you decide to have an attitude, you cut up with the wrong person, somebody decided to call the police. Now you right there. Now all of a sudden you want people like me to be advocating for your rights. I need people to stop switching up.
Do you see, Rebecca, why I was so paranoid on the beach in Jacksonville with that white cop? Nah, man, I'm paranoid for a reason. And I just can't believe these kids. And let me ask you a specific question. If theoretically we had enough cash to bail everybody out of Rikers, what would stop us? Or is the system just so cruel to us that even if we come up with the money, we can't get those boys and those people out?
I think we could get a lot of people out. There are people, obviously, that are going to be remanded, right? Remanded without custody, that they don't even give the option to get out, right? And I think that's an important thing no one discusses enough. I feel like whenever you see like white supremacists in the news and they get bail and the conversation becomes all around like, oh, we want them to be able to get bail. And yeah, okay, cool, because I do want a system where my clients can get bail. But what about the world in which a lot of my clients don't even have the option of bail?